Hi, welcome. On this video, I'd like to respond to a question I received regarding clarifying the issues about, when I talk about motives of dogs and control issues, how to get a better sense of that in terms of, what does that really mean in terms of, the path that needs to happen when it comes to creating a meaningful change between dogs and owners. And so here's the thing to understand about, you know, beginning to get a sense of this in terms of these control issues. Now, here's the thing. I talk about this a lot. Appearances are very deceiving. Okay, so for example, when you're looking at a dog in your home environment, and even with how the dog is connecting to you, oftentimes, okay, a dog can be holding already a tremendous amount of control. And the issue about exposing that or being able to see beyond just appearances and not be deceived is it has to be, the cards have to be put on the table. I mean, you have to put it to the test, be able to bring that out to see what the real deal is. And so certain interactions, this is why when you look at, the struggles that dog owners have initially, which are very common, right away you'll see them begin to have struggles with the dog accepting the leash certain ways. And I talk about certain ways because that's the thing about exposing the cards, is that it's about how these interactions, how they test the motives through the type of influence, okay, that is coming online to actually test the mind of the dog. So right away, when a dog is starting to gain control in the relationship, the perceptions of the dog are beginning to change. You'll see the dog start to already go into challenge states, okay, over certain interactions that express leadership and influence, okay, in a specific way. But within the parameters, again, of what's reasonable, this is the thing that's really difficult for people, is oftentimes their emotions really get in the way of, they'll say assert a reasonable amount of influence on the dog. They might get a very unreasonable reaction, and then they're thinking that they're hurting the dog. And I've seen puppies many times will yelp and really go on because it's a stress load on the dog. Then it's hit the real tipping point. Then you're really thinking you're hurting the dog, and they'll yelp before you even touch the dog because it causes the mind to really pull in hard, okay? It causes a huge amount of stress on the dog. But again, this is the thing about, understanding these issues of control. You have to expose them. But beyond that is, what you see, without it being put to the test, can be very deceiving. That's why dogs can gain a huge amount of control in the relationship. And the owners feel completely blindsided because there's no threat on the roll. Okay, the cards are not being put on the table, and emotions are in the mix. And so you're petting on the dog. It feels really good, but the dog is liking that, but in the sense of liking gaining control. Okay, just understand. I mean, there's things here that really are hard for people to reconcile through how dogs look and appear, because we'll emotionalize it. Okay, we'll interpret that through how we think as a human, and it's not the same thing that way. Okay, it's the appearance of what it is, but it goes deeper than that, and how it's defined through nature that way. Okay, it's a different thing happening. So, but it'll bring us into a crisis point, because again, the dog will start to gain control. Well, but again, just understand, there are going to be interactions that expose the cards. Okay, that through certain interactions that you're doing, you'll see things. You'll say, wow, I mean, but then you'll try to reconcile, say, man, I mean, why is this? But, with me in the home environment, it looks great. Well, no, that's actually, what looks great is actually deception, okay? The dog is just kind of free-flowing around, in control, gaining fulfillment that way, accepting certain people, which isn't always a good thing, okay? Certain personality types, emotions to dogs become weakness, okay? So it starts to branch off, but it's all through what's established through that dog owner. And so here's the thing about the method. My method's designed to put all the cards on the table. Not just put all the cards on the table, but to be very intentional with how it sets up change. Okay, it's how influence manifests. It's how change is defined through the person. But again, it exposes the true motives of the dog. Because that's the thing. Because right away when I come into a home environment, what I'm telling the owner to do is, on the leash, put your dog into a sit position. Don't use commands. Just put the dog in. When I say put the dog in, doesn't mean this to be, using unreasonable level of influence. Okay, it's about what's reasonable, and I'm watching. So when you see the dog start to reject that, start to go into high challenge, you got problems. But here's the thing: I already know before I step into the home environment what's going to happen. That's more for their benefit. Okay, that's more for them because it's about what's reasonable. A dog that, when the person's in right relationship with the dog and the dog is in a follower state, as I define it, then the motives are cleaned up. That dog's going to be accepting. Everything's going to line up. But this is the thing about, I say about there not being one-offs. This is the thing about the deceptive picture, is that, when you see certain things, okay, happening, and you're like, wow, my dog's really challenging this or that, or this has happened. That's the real truth of it. Everything else that you're seeing is a deception. Okay, the true motives of the dog are not on display because the dog is in control and it's not being put to the test. Okay, just understand that. So again, really important to understand nature doesn't reveal itself the way that we expect. Okay, we expect a certain level of interaction between from dog to dog. That's why I even talk about why, within dog packs, that's very deceptive too. Trainers that play off this whole dog pack thing, that would be very problematic because dogs can hold control. But again, the picture can look great for photo ops, okay, but not great for how it transfers over as changes defined relationally, how it sets up in and through the person directly. Okay, just understand there's a lot of things that can be very deceiving. It has to be put to the test. So anyway, that's a little bit of insight into appearances, issues of motives, control. They go hand in hand. But this system, what it does is the methodology the system employs. It puts all the cards on the table, but it does it smart at the same time. Okay, it reduces the risk way down so bad things aren't happening. It's very transitional how it does it. Takes the stress loads off the dog, and it's going to create real change. It's not going to be a counterfeit picture. It's going to be the real deal. So again, if you have any questions about this system, feel free to contact me. I have lots of free videos that are available on my YouTube channel. Feel free to watch those, and it will give you a sense of what training really is about. This issue about motives, control, a lot of stuff's common sense too. You can apply almost everything I say to the human world. There's a lot of parallels here. There's things that are different, but there's a lot of similarities, but it'll at least help you gain perspective. So thanks for watching.